Hi, welcome, it's Jim from Avstar. This is the third time I've tried to do this video because it's really difficult what I want to get across. But this guy's got, you probably know him, Canadian prepper. He's got a little business that sells prepping gear internationally, I think. And he's got 1.3 million subscribed to him. And he's just announced that there will be no more updates on his channel in the next 48 hours. And that if you want to get his updates, you ought to go to Prepper News. And I've been watching him over the last few months, and the reason for this move of his is because of the throttling back of YouTube and their algorithms. And I suppose, you know, he's been demonetised. If they're throttling back, they would have demonetised him a long time ago, like they did us. And if you get struck by YouTube on the monetisation, you never get back on. You know, we used to earn probably £500 a month on just that revenue, you know, but they took it away from us. And it's because we're all talking about worldly events, and they don't like us going in their house talking about that. That's what it is. They don't like us stepping on their toes. But it's not just happened to me or Canadian prepper. I mean, look what they did to Alex Jones. You know, he was demonetised, then they kicked him off YouTube, then he got into, you know, doing what he does elsewhere, and then they, you know, took him to court and bankrupted him to an unbelievable amount. Look at Gerald Salenti. Nearly every video we're being throttled back, you know, help and support us, you know, because they don't like what he says. Yet he's been predicting trends for many years, and accurately doing so. And then, you know, last but not least on this list, I mean, it could have went on for a long time, but, you know, the last one is Russell Brand. You know, they've got a couple of tools in their kit bag, and the last one that they've used on Russell Brand is accuse him of being a sex offender, which is what they've done to a lot of other people as well. They want to bring down, you know, that's just a tool in the bag. But they demonetised him, if you remember. First of all, a minister goes to YouTube and says demonetise him, and YouTube demonetise him. So he goes over to Rumble and takes a large crowd of people there over on Rumble, and then the next minute, you know, he gets a knock on the door and he's arrested for a sex offence that happened probably 15 years ago. Why weren't the allegations made 15 years ago? Why only now? Well, it's clear, because they don't like what Russell Brand is talking about. And if he weren't talking about him, these bogus claims of him being a sex offender would never have come up. But it's not the point, guys. If you're ever accused of something like that, that sticks for the rest of your life. It destroys your career and your image. You know, this has happened to footballers. You know, there's an organisation on the internet that dedicates themselves to people that have been wrongfully accused of something. Even though they've won the case in court, it's still destroyed their career over it. So all someone has to do is make the allegation. That's it, you're done. I can't remember the woman's name, the minister in the British government who went to YouTube and did that. But my point is this. We're supposed to have rules that protect us and allow us to talk about whatever subject we want, whatever topic, and share it with whoever we want. Yet we've got government members directly approaching companies like YouTube, you know, social media broadcasters, and saying, do this, do that, take them down. And we see the pattern. Demonetisation. You probably lose your channel next. And then if you carry on, you're accused of a sex offence somewhere later on down the road. But they're going to bankrupt this guy. I saw this happening to him, and I think he could have helped himself had he been a bit smaller in the nature of his business. You know, it looks like he's got a warehouse. I believe he's got a small production crew, so the salaries he has to pay. You know, this is just like a small version of Alex Jones and probably Russell Brand. So, you know, when the wallet gets squeezed enough, you have to let these people go and downsize, and that's what they do. But at the end of the day, they've deliberately gone to war with democracy only not declared it. And this is what we hear politicians in America, like I can't remember his name now, with regards to the Houthis. We're not going to send them a telegram and tell them when we're coming. And we're not going to send them a telegram telling them that we are going to war with them, even though already, you know, the ships are off the coast of their, you know, country. And we see it again with Iran. You know, the same threats, the same words being used. And what this is all about with Russell Brand, Canadian Prepper, myself, Gerald Salenti, Alex Jones, is throttling back. Now, I found it coincidental today when I was looking through my usual subscribers that they was talking about what Vladimir Putin has just said. He's just come out and said we should throttle them if they throttle us. It's crazy, doesn't it, guys? But you know, this is the world we live in. I told you, you know, this is a repeat of the 1930s. You know, this is the burning of the literature and a modern version of it. And the next is when the prisons are full, well, let's build a death camp. We'll execute them, get rid of them that way. It's cheaper than building prisons. One death camp, we can deal with a lot. They have gone, in my view, to war with 85% of the population of the world. I think that numbers underestimated, by the way. I think it's greater than that. But they're failing to address simple things, simple economic things, and not coming up with any solutions for them, as well as a lot of other things. But, you know, if you're going to allow technology to come into the populace, and that removes jobs, where are people going to get the money to participate in the capital system? Because at the moment, the only people that the capital system is serving is the very rich and elite, and they don't want to let it go, because that's their favourite honeypot. And the other one is the taxpayer's purse. But it's all part of the capital system, and we are not allowed to participate in it no more. You know, they've said it at Davos, and I'm not going to over-exaggerate it. It was a suggestion that was just put out there. It wasn't a plan that was, you know, put down to be executed. But, you know, it's happening. You'll have nothing and you'll be happy. But I've said this before. I've seen a lot of homeless people that have nothing, and the last thing they're doing is smiling and, you know, skipping. They're not. So it's a sad situation that we've got, where someone like, you know, Ned, I think his name is, Nate, is, you know, not going to broadcast anything on this channel anymore, even though he's got 1.3 million subscribers to it. That he feels he has to go somewhere else because the throttling back has got that bad. So that's where we are. You know, the attitude of a lot of people is to allow all this to happen and hope that it don't come round knocking on their door, but it will, I guarantee you. You can avoid it for only a certain amount of time, and it will come for you. If you allow it to go for others, and you allow to watch others suffer and do nothing, when it happens to you, don't expect a knight in shining armour to come rolling up and save your day, because it won't happen. You're on your own. If you won't stick with others and find a solution together, if you're going to go out on your own, then you are going to go down on your own. And is a prediction. I think we're very close to it here in the UK, but I'm seeing the same patterns in other countries. People ain't going to be protesting very soon. There's going to be riots and civil unrest on the streets, because, you know, they're seeing it. Even if it ain't happened to them yet, they know it's coming for them. You know, they've totally wiped out the middle class in the UK. There are just a few stragglers left, but pretty much all of us are broke over here in the UK. It is now just the poor and the elite rich. And they're probably shitting themselves, the elite. I mean, we've heard, you know, the very richest of them, you know, Zuckerberg, Musk, Bezos, they're digging themselves bunkers. So they're trying to avoid something in the future, clearly. But as I hear a lot on my channel, in the comments section, on a lot of other channels, people would just find the air shafts, pour petrol or diesel down them and set them on fire down in the hole. You know, it'll be biblical. It's like, that story about Sodom and Gomorrah, I think. Oh, there's a story in the Bible, and I'll just try and briefly, mention it. They were supposed to keep oil in the lamps for at the right point in time, but people just lit the lamps and used up their oil. When the time came, there was no oil left, and therefore they perished. I think it was these people were trying to find a rock somewhere and hide under it, but they couldn't hide under the wrath of God, or something like that. If you know that section of the Bible, put it down in the comment section, for the others, because they might think, you're bonkers, Gene. What are you talking about? So I'll leave it there, guys. If you're interested in the pole shift on the 4th of June, there's a link down there. Why don't you come and join us over on Patreon? Because YouTube has just lost the plot, and nobody wants to participate in supporting on YouTube. It's clearly now been established, and it's because of the behaviour. No wonder why TikTok is more popular now than YouTube. It's because YouTube, don't respect freedom of speech, freedom of sharing ideas, and that's what you get. Okay, guys, as always, bye for now.